Well, Kelly has got the most divine voice, and she's a great, great musician, and lives in the Riverland in regional SA. And I really wanted her to be on the project because she's just wonderful. And so tonight I want to chat with you about the fact that you did grow up in a regional area, and you worked with a participant, Rachel Rivers, who couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. But I've got something from her that I'm going to read out. But you grew up in the Riverland, and I wanted to ask you about how common it was to meet gay people when you were growing up.
I honestly didn't really know anyone growing up in the Riverland that was gay. Or I didn't understand the whole concept of gay myself until perhaps I was in my teens, and Mum and Dad sat us down and told us about our auntie and uncle on both sides of on my mother's side and on my father's side, who were gay, and I still didn't quite understand it. But other than that, I had never really heard the term, and it was rarely spoken about. You just don't see it in any media. And yeah, it was a word that was very new to me until later on in life.
So when did you realise that your sexuality was a shade of grey? And what did you do about that when you realised?
Well, it was I don't know, it was a journey of discovery for me. I went through a period where I wasn't with anyone. I guess a lot of people, I don't know, I think some people can perhaps relate to it, going through a phase where you're, I guess, asexual, and then I noticed that I was interested in women, I guess, and I didn't really indulge in anything until later on in life. I was fortunate enough to have a very good friend who was gay, who I worked with, and she was a massive support for me. And without her, I would have had a mental breakdown, I'm sure, because I needed someone to talk to. And so I was grateful that someone was brave enough to be out and proud in the Riverland, because you don't see it enough.
And so recently you travelled overseas for over 12 months? Was it quite a long time?
It was about 8 months.
8 months, okay. Yeah. So tell us about your visit to what you told me was the gay capital of Europe. Tell us about that trip.
Well, I started my trip I went to the UK first, and I was introduced, I started off in Manchester, and I think it has the second largest gay population in the UK, and that was a massive eye-opener, being taken to what they call the village there, and just the sea of people. It was mind-blowing. And then I went to Europe, and it just was coincidental. I ended up in Barcelona, and they had the Euro Games on, the Gay and Lesbian Olympic Games, followed by Love Ball, I think it was called, and then followed by the Circuit Festival. It was about a month of gay festivities in Barcelona. So
wow, there you go.
I was.
You've been partying on.
I was immersed in
and
it.
such a vast contrast from being in the Riverland where it's never seen.
It was completely foreign to me.
Did you feel more liberated in that area of the world? Like, did you feel free?
Well, yeah, I did, but I didn't speak about this with my parents until later, like mid this year. I finally built up the courage. They'd confronted me years ago about it, and they were very upset. And so I denied everything, and then it wasn't until this year that I built up the courage to say something. And prior to that, when I was travelling, I think even though I didn't need I was over the other side of the world, completely away from them, there was something inside of me that was still there was these bars that were blocking my conscience, and I still felt a bit wrong, even, expressing myself, because my family, who you crave their acceptance, and I just, yeah.
You felt guilty?
Yeah, I did.
Still,
yeah. So,
even though you're on the other side of the world.
Even though I was...
The guilt's in the mind.
Yeah, it was all in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're so glad that you did come out and that you are here with us tonight. Aren't we?
Yeah!
Clap up the close.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask you too, after talking with Rachel and meeting up with Rachel, how did you go about putting her story into a song? What was your process?
Rachel's story, as you'll hear, is one complex story. It is fascinating, and she's been through a massive roller coaster of a ride in her 32 years, and she is an inspiring woman. I was very nervous. You know, I wanted to create a song that she felt connected to, and so the songwriting process for me was quite long, and I would write stuff and I would ask her what she thinks, and she helped me a lot with how she felt about, you know, certain lyrics and stuff. So in the end, I came up with a song that I'm very proud of, and I feel quite connected to as well. The whole process, it wasn't a quick one though. It took a while, but yeah.
Shall I read out Rachel's story?
Do.
I might invite you to go and grab your guitar and plug in, and then we'll hear your song after this story.